Hello, this is Richard with Sewing Machine Tips and Tricks, and I'm going to go over how to diagnose and replace a pin jack on a Singer machine. So what do I mean by pin jack? I mean the little jack where your foot pedal plugs in on an electronic machine. Not just electric, but electronic. So the electric cord and the foot pedal are two separate cords. They're not all in one. So in other words, you have your foot feed, your foot control, right? You have your foot control. It has a jack similar to this. And then you have your regular electric cord. And they each plug in to their own place, okay? They're not one and the same. And the plug that we're talking about today is this one. So with no further delay, let's go ahead and get this started, and we will diagnose it, and then we will show how to replace it. Right, this is the Singer Heavy Duty Series, but before I go on, I've already diagnosed this. I'm going to show you how to diagnose it. This is the new pin jack that we're putting in it. I'm going to show you how to replace it in this video. If you would like to see how to repair this rather than buying a new one, go over to my Patreon. There will be a link down in the description below, and I will show you how this is repaired. All right, so here we go. All right. Whoop. I'm going to take that off. We will plug this in and turn it on. All right, so I've got it plugged in, turn it on. Okay, so we are on now. In a properly working machine, you plug your cord in, and it should. Well, and normally it should work, which this one is. So this is common when you have problems with this pin jack. Okay, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. So you see right here, it's working. I'm going to turn this, try to get it so you can see both sides. Okay, so we're working here. And if I move this, now it stops working. And then it starts again. So I guess you can't see what I'm doing, so I've got it down, let it off, and there it is. So theoretically, anytime you move this around, it shouldn't stop working. That being said, you're not going to be moving this when you're working on them. But when it starts doing this, it will be random, and it'll just start and stop and start and stop. Okay? Even if your machine is not working, when you do this, it can start working, and normally will start working a little bit. When I initially tested this and I plugged it in, it's been about 3 weeks ago. That's how long it took me to get this pin jack. It wouldn't work. It would just sometimes work when I moved it. But today it does work. Anyway, so I know for a fact that it's having problems, and I am going to replace this for my customer. And then, like I said, over on Patreon, I will show you how to pull this jack apart if you would prefer to pull it apart and repair it. So let's get started. I'm going to turn that off, get it unplugged. And then this is actually the first electronic heavy duty that I've opened up. It's the first one that I've had in my shop, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, Looking at it, it looks very similar to a regular heavy duty. Okay, so you're going to have to take the front off. The top, so interesting note, unlike the non-electronic heavy duties, the top doesn't come off. The top is part of the back. So you won't take this off. You will remove these screws and the whole thing will come apart, like most singers, most of the modern day singers today. So yeah, the top won't come off. Bottom comes off though, as you can see, and it looks pretty similar to the rest of the heavy duties. Now, this is different. This is extended out. So why is this extended out? Because this is where the knife goes on a sewing machine, on electronic sewing machines. This is where the knife goes. And I don't know if this one has a knife in it or it doesn't have a knife in it. They tend to leave this out, whether they put the knife in it or not, so that they don't have to make two different versions. So with that, let's get started. So we'll start with taking this end off. And this one, yep, there we go. All right, there's that. I need to get rid of that. All right, then we will take this, I believe we'll take this end off first. Normally this will come off without taking the rest of the machine apart. Yep, there we go. We're going to take the needle plate off and take the needle out of here before I get stuck with it. Okay, let's turn this around, pull that out. Cool. Unlike most of the rest of the heavy duties, that came out very easy. So this one does not have a knife. This is where the knife unit is installed, if it would have one. If it has one. This one doesn't have it. I'm going to bet, can't say it for sure, but I'm going to bet that you could order a knife unit and put on here. That being said, you'd have to make sure that it had the cord made to go to your electronic panel, and then you'd have to know where to plug it in at. And those are, I don't know exactly where it's supposed to plug in at, honestly. But more than likely, if you knew where it plugged in at, all you'd have to do is just order the knife unit and put on it. So anyway, we're going to pull the screws out of the back and then out of the bottom. So it looks like someone's had this apart before. There would normally be a screw right here, but there's not. So we've got these two screws here, and we'll have a screw here and a screw here that we have to take out. And I dropped it, found it. Okay, there's those. So that's all the screws out of the back. Now we will take the ones off the bottom. And something else, unlike the other heavy duties, the entire bottom does not come off this, but it does have a small section that comes out. So we will remove that. Or remove the screw anyway. And then remove all these other ones. Very interesting. So it's got another panel right here that is removed. That's for your little chart, all the different stitches that it makes. I'm not going to remove it, I don't think. I don't think I need to. We'll find out for sure. I can't hold on to my screwdriver today. All right, and these larger screws should be going into the frame as well. So 4 of them. And then this whole bottom should come off. I don't know if we're going to have wires to deal with or not. We're going to find out. Alright, so I'll lift that up. Carefully take this off, maybe. Maybe not. It doesn't want to come off. There we go. There we go. Oh, there it is. Ah, okay, yeah. So, oh, I dropped that foot. I gotta find it. That foot that was on there is what was fighting me. All right, I got my little foot. I'll just take that lint off there and put that back on there. So you can see here, there's a lot of lint in this area. There's a lot of lint here. I'm sure there's a good amount of lint here. Yeah, so there you go. So this thing hasn't been cleaned in a long time. First and foremost, I'm not doing a service because she didn't say she wanted it serviced. I will talk to her and I'll let her know. In fact, I'm going to take pictures so she can see it. But she has obviously used canned air. This is very indicative of using canned air on this machine. And this is why you don't use it. Because while some of it will absolutely come out here, a lot of it don't. All right. And when this lint goes into this bushing, okay, when it goes in there and it gets forced in there, it will soak all the oil up, and then this shaft turning will start causing friction. It will burn it and turn it to carbon, and then the carbon will destroy this shaft and this bushing. You want to replace it? It gets expensive. So maybe not too expensive on this one as with others. It looks like, well, I don't know. It all depends. It really does. And I'd have to see what it actually took to get into it. At this point, it looks like you could probably take this belt gear off, unloosen the bushing, slide it out, and slide a new one on. You would still have to time the machine. So it might not be horribly expensive, but it's still going to be more expensive than properly taking care of your machine. Now, that's if it's just damages the bushing. If it damaged the shaft, the whole shaft has to be replaced. That's going to be expensive. So, because all of this has to come apart, and there's lots of issues to deal with here. Anyway, I'm going to take pictures real quick so I can show to her. Okay, so I just noticed another problem. This is it's not a problem right this second. It is a huge potential problem. And I see this with a lot of heavy duties. Okay, it's this right here. This timing belt has got way too much play in it. Way too much play. And so why is that a problem? They call this a heavy duty machine. And so people will absolutely use it for really heavy duty stuff that they probably shouldn't be used for. Multiple layers of denim for upholstery and all kinds of stuff. Really heavy stuff that should probably be used on a commercial machine. When they do that, it puts a lot of stress right here, and when something gets stuck, it will cause this belt to jump, which will, when it's your timing belt, all right, so when it jumps, your timing's off. If you don't know how to check your timing, and I have videos on that, then you have no idea what's going on. And even if you do understand that it's out of time, you probably don't understand why it's out of time. With the Singer Heavy Duty, this right here is normally why it's out of time, because your belt jumped. So anyway, I will, in the video on Patreon, I'll also be showing how to tighten this up. All right, so if you want to go over there and watch that video, there's a link in the description below where you can click and go check that video out. All right, anyway, so we need to keep going here. And I'm going to clean all this lint out of here for her, but right now we need to get to the main issue, and that is replacing this jack. So we've got everything apart, or we've got all the screws out, should I say. So now we need to get it apart. So I'm going to need to get one of my pry tools. All right, so I got my little pry tool to make this easy, or easier, should I say. And I want to point out something else on the regular heavy duties. This piece right here comes off as well by itself. On this one, it does not. So you've got the back half, which is right here, and then the front half, which is over here. So all of this silver goes to the front half. So let's see what we can do. There's that. All right, that's loose. This didn't want to come loose, so we will start. Oh, you didn't see what I did. So I pulled that apart. So that's loose. No wonder. There we go. I've got that, but we need to, let me see if I can get you a better view in here. We need to get this apart. Oh, and I forgot to take a couple of screws out. So let's get those gone. All right, so we have actually just one screw. We've got this one right here. You want to be real careful with this light right here, unless they have recently, whoops, what'd I do with that screw? I dropped it right there. Unless they've recently come out with a light for these, they don't have the LED lights to replace. I'll look again and see if I can find them, but I haven't been able to find them. I haven't seen them anywhere. So I have had to, on the regular ones that are not electronic, had to replace the light with just a regular light instead of the LED. But I have to double check and see if they've come out with any right now, or since I've looked last. All right. So this is not wanting to come apart at all. All right, I'm going to take my tool and we'll shove right in here. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. And see if I can get this to start coming apart. There we go. All right, so we got it started. This isn't wanting to. There we go. That came loose. Now let's get the top and then the back. That looks like it's done. Now we'll work on the back. Maybe. There we go. Just like that. And this feels like there's still something holding it. Wow. So I know there's something holding the bottom, and it's the switches. See if I can get that. There we go. I got that off. Move that to the side. And now let's see if we can see what's going on here. Ah, okay. So you can take this out of here. Okay, that's just a film. So this is a sticker. This is just a sticker. If you want to try to pull this off, you can. You've seen the way I just took that off there. We have a screw right here. And that screw is holding this on. It's holding the front at the center of it. So I'm going to see if I can untighten it at this angle. Yep. Okay, there it is, untightened. Okay, but you can absolutely take this sticker off. I don't know why they make it a sticker as opposed to a little piece of plastic to take out, but they do. If you're careful with it, you can replace it. But you can also do it the way I just showed you to do it. So. Whereas you don't take the sticker off. All right. Now I need to, there we go. Just carefully get that lifted up. Now we've got wires here that need to be undone. Oh, so we've just got one set of wires. That's cool. So carefully, and I'm going to really push the word carefully, because on another Singer machine some guy broke his electrical connection and said it was my fault. Anyway, so careful, all right? You're going to take a hold of this and you're going to gently pull back and forth on it. I'm trying to grab this right here. It can be tough, and you can break it if you get rough with it. And it does not want to come apart. There we go. So again, carefully, we will set that to the side. All right, now we need to identify the electrical that we need to take apart and such. So the next thing is going to be to undo this, because this is the piece that we need to take out. This little nut right here is going to have to come off. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and loosen that before I take the screws out. Maybe find the right piece of equipment or the right tool. There we go. Just popped off. Now we'll move in and out. Where did I just lay that? Right there. Right there. Now we will remove this. Okay, those 3 screws, pull this out, and the whole back is open, and this has come out. Now, just need to get this up out of the way somewhere. Here's this, and if we turn right around here, we can see this moving. Okay, so, all right, there we go. This is the one that we need. All right, so I'm going to unplug it, just like that. Now I'm going to take it through here. Feeding the new one back through here may be a little difficult, but we will deal with that in a few minutes. I could, at this point, take a string or something and tie to this and pull this through, and then or a piece of thread and then tie it. Maybe that's what I'll do. All right, so this is actually a type of thin upholstery thread. I'm using it so that I don't have to worry about it breaking. I'm going to tie a knot here. With a loop in it, just like that. And then I'll take this, and I'll make this loop just like that. Actually, we're going to cut that off. Cut this little excess right here off that we don't need, so it's out of our way. So now it looks like this. Just like that, okay? Put that over, tighten it up. Get the thread over that little knot that's hanging on. And now I can pull this out. Maybe. Getting stuck on something somewhere. Oh, well, yeah. So we have a zip tie right here that we will probably have to remove. Try to remove it without cutting the wires or damaging the other wires. Well, all right, I'm going to get these. It's got wire cutters on it. And while I'm not cutting wires, it will make it much easier to remove this. So I don't have any wires. There it is. And then I can replace that here in just a bit. Put that back up there, out of the way, and pull this, and here's that thread. I can undo it. Just like that, and then I can put the new one on it. Put the new wire on the thread. I'll move that to the side. Get this. And we can see it's the same. Okay, it's got the same ends. Everything's the same on it. So we'll put this end through here, and then we will simply pull the thread back. Sounds easier than what it may be. There it comes, almost. There it is, right there. So just working it back and forth a little bit, and I got it through there. And then I can take this, put it right up here. Okay, and so I'll be showing how to repair this on my Patreon channel. So if you have watched that, the rest of it's the same, just putting it back together. So I'm going to unscrew this. That out from under there. And I was going to say voila, but maybe not. Trying. It's trying to come through. It's tempting to take something and put in that hole to line it up to help keep it lined up, but you need to be really careful with that because those small metal pins in there are easy to break and bend out of place. But this thing doesn't seem to want to go in. Why not? Okay, so you need to get something really small, some sort of picks or something. I've got a variety of picks, just like this. Okay, and this is the one I'm going to use. You need to make sure that you know which one of these goes where, because it's vitally important that they go back in the exact same spot. So we have 3 sides that it fits in, and we've got numbers. That looks like a number 8 or a number 9. I can't tell. 8. And then there's no number there. There's no number there. So on the 8 side, we have the brown, and then we go to the black, which is on the wider side, and then red is on the other end of it, okay? So that should be easy enough to remember. And I'm going to start with this red, and we're going to push this down and then try to push it out. There we go. I think I got it under there. Maybe not. Okay. There we go. It can definitely be hard to pull out. If you're not careful, you can break it. Sometimes you have to use pliers. But I think that I've got that where I need it. See if we can get a good view of that. Okay, it looks like, best that I can tell, and I've got that pushed down. I'm going to use this wider side real quick. Okay, I need to get my pliers. All right, you can use needle nose, regular pliers, or whatever. I'm going to use these regular ones. Wrong one. Back over here on the red. And then we're going to try to easily pull it out. Putting a good amount of pressure on it. It's not coming. So work with a little bit more here. There we go. See if that did it. It is not. I may have to go on to one of the other ones. See if I can. Normally, they come out fairly easy. But when I'm making a video, they don't want to. So I'm going to move to this other one over here. So we're on the black right now. There we go. So right there is how it's supposed to work. You just push that down, it comes out. And we're going to do this one. Whoop. I pushed it all the way through. That was not my intent. But it'll be okay. Just when I get ready to put it back together, I've got to push it back up. Now, let's see if we can see what the heck with this one. There we go. I got it pushed far enough down. Just have to push it back up when I get ready to put it back in. So, as you see, each one of these has its own little spring mechanism. Okay, so we have to bend these springs back up a little bit, and we need to make sure that all these surfaces are clean, don't have carbon or something on them. Like that one looks like it could have some carbon. So I'm going to use a little bit of sandpaper, and I'm going to use it on it, just knock anything off of it that's on it. Okay, now something that you have to keep in mind when doing this, when bending this, is all this has to go back together and none of these can be touching each other. So I'm going to raise that up some. There we go. Got that up. I'm going to raise this one up. Now this is real thin, so we want to make sure that we don't bend it out of shape. But I got it raised up. And now we got this one. Where does it raise out? Up. So it raises, it bends right here at this fold. You know, it's not a two-piece like the other, or I say two-piece. It's not bent back over on itself like that is, or like this one is, okay? It's just bent, so we're going to bend it just a hair, like that. Now, we should be able to just slide it back together. Now, do we remember which one went where? If you remember, comment down below and let me know. So we have the number 8. And then we had the different sides. So straight across from the side was the red. And so this is going to go with this pointing to the inside. You see there, right there, we've got little guides where that slips in. But before we slide that in, we have to take this little piece and bend it back the other way. Which is proving to be a little more difficult. There we go. Okay, there it is. So I got that bent back up. Straight across from the 8. Over here is where it goes. And the wider part of this goes in that slot. So I'm going to take this, I'm just going to put it right here. And we're going to start sliding it in. And you see that piece that I bent up, we're starting to hit it, and we're just going to force it in, push it. Now it pops back up in that hole. And this don't want to come off. Make sure that you don't pull the shrink tube off of that, okay? And then the black, I believe, yep. The black was on this other side. We're going to make sure that that is pushed up. Like it should be, okay? So we've got that up. And you see that opening is very narrow, okay? So we're just going to slide that in. The widest part of this is what has to catch in there. So we're going to start by putting this at the top and just let it slide its way in. Saw the piece and heard it pop. We're there. Now the last one. Now this one, this is way open, right? Unlike the other ones. That's what made it easier. But we want to make sure that this is sticking up so that it catches and locks it in. I think I want it up a little bit more than that. There we go. So you can see that it's staying like way up, which is fine. This will push it back into place. So it goes right straight across from the red one. We'll put this in and just slide it into place, just like that. Now, the trick is to make sure that these are not touching each other, and that's locked in. They can be close, but they can't touch. Okay? And so, let me get my little pointer here. We can see the big one that I just put in. It's pushed way down, but we're not touching. We're not touching this one over here by any means. Okay? We got lots of room. We're not touching here, so we're good. The other place to look is going to be in here. So this is the one, the smaller of the three, right here on this side, and there's nothing on the sides of it. Okay. There's nothing touching whatsoever. It's probably hard for y'all to see in there. I'm sorry. But there's absolutely nothing touching. I don't know that I can get a light so that y'all can see that. Maybe, who knows? So I'm going to try a couple of different things here. So you can kind of see that. Okay. And then, yeah, I don't think that helps you at all. Trying to keep the light out of your eyes. There you go. Kind of see that as I move it around. So you can see in that corner we are very close, but we're not touching. Okay, if you got any questions, let me know. Now we just need to slide this back up into place, put it on, and then this needs to be reheat shrunk. Whoop. Okay, so I don't know if you've seen that. Let me see if I can pull that back down again. There we go. Okay, so we will push this back up there. Just, yeah, it went up back up there a while ago. There we go. And you can use a small tool if you need to help you, to help keep that from bending. Anyway, now we just need to heat that back up and make sure that it shrinks right up. So I'm going to grab my heat gun. All right, so I'm going to heat this up now. In the past, I've used small torches and stuff, and you can absolutely do that. I've recently gotten a heat gun, and I'm going to use that this time. So I've got this end on it to really reduce down my air to just a small area, but I'm going to turn this heat all the way up because it takes a good amount of heat to get these things to shrink. I've got two settings. I'm going to put it on the low one. So let's see. There we go. Yeah, it's hot all the way out there. All right. Now I can definitely feel it on my thumb and finger. It is heating up good. Looks like I see smoke coming off with it. In fact, first time I've used this little piece. Hopefully it doesn't burst into flames here in a minute. Kind of smell it. You can see the plastic starting to kind of get a shine to it. So it's heating up good. It has started to shrink just a little bit. Not a whole lot. I don't know that it will do a lot of shrinking because it's already been shrunk once, but it should cause it to hold back in place. Yeah, I can see the wires themselves. Woo, yeah, that's good. That's good. So you can see my plastic actually started to get shiny and started melting just a little bit. So we are more than hot. We are good there. So that shrunk up as much as it's going to shrink. Now I just need to let it cool. I'm going to show how to tighten the belt on this, the timing belt on this. And it's pretty much, it's not pretty much, it is. It's the same as all the rest of your heavy duties. And I'm going to show that here in a minute. But and if you need to service one of these or whatever, I have a video on YouTube that shows how to service that. All right, the Singer Heavy Duty series. So go check that out. But I want to point something out. See this? This little electric motor, that freaking ton of gob of grease, that is insane and not necessary. So don't do that. You just need a little bit on the gears. It doesn't need to be smeared all over the motor and everything else. That's crazy. Okay, you don't need to get grease and lubrication over the entire freaking machine. It's good that it's not that white grease, whatever the hell it's called. Anyway, but that is really unnecessary. 90% of that grease will never be used. It's just smeared around. You'll never make it under those teeth. Okay, and plus this doesn't have a lot of pressure. It doesn't have a lot of torque or anything else. It just needs a little bit of something to give it lubrication to make it a little simpler for the teeth to mesh without tearing anything up. It doesn't need a gob of grease. That's crazy. It's not a car differential or a hub on a wheel. So anyway, so there we go. Let's tighten this belt up. So you need to turn it over on its back, and probably I would recommend probably setting it up kind of like this. Get something to put under it. What, I don't know. Right there. This will work just fine. So I got a mallet. There we go. That's going to get it pretty much where I need it. Okay. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. And now you can see this moving. You can see all of that movement. So that's fine if you're not ever going to have a lot of pressure on that. But if you start sewing heavier stuff, and it is called a heavy duty, so most people get it, in order to sew heavier stuff, you're going to cause this to jump. So you got the screw here. This piece, this is like an idler pulley, and it tightens your belt. Okay, so you're going to undo this. You're going to push this in. This pulley goes on the outside of the belt. If you ever take this off, it does not go on the inside of the belt. It goes on the outside just like it is. So we'll loosen that, and then we will push that down just like that. Well, my phone, you can see that it pushed down and it stayed. It's not even popping back up. That's how loose it was. And I just pushed it down with my hand. Okay, so now we're going to turn this. The reason we turn it is to get this pressure that we put on it proportioned. And so this still moves a good bit, okay, but not near as much as it did. I'm going to put a little more pressure on this. I'm going to get another screwdriver first. Okay, so I'm going to loosen this up. Take this. And I'm going to turn that so that I'm pushing that down, putting pressure on it. Okay, there it is. That's down about as far as it'll go. And I'll turn it to make sure that it's got even pressure. It'll do it on its own when you turn it. When you turn it on and run it, it'll even out. But for the sake of this video, I want to show you. Okay, so we've got a lot more pressure on this now. This is the long side, so you're going to have movement, all right, but it's not near what it was. This is a lot tighter, and it's almost impossible to get it to skip with the power that little motor can put out. So if you have any questions, let me know. Putting it together is pretty much the same as taking it apart, just in the opposite. So I'm not going to put that in the video. It's really simple. You know, you just hook that piece of wire, you just hook this connection back up. Make sure you hook it up the same way you took it apart, and make sure that it's pushed in on both sides all the way. If it's not, if you put it together and it doesn't seem to work right, parts of it don't work or it doesn't work at all, check and make sure that you got this done right. Make sure that that's pushed in on both sides all the way. Make sure you get everything lined up so you don't tear up your little connectors right there, wire connectors in there. All right. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, and y'all have a great day.